How you doing, blessed people? You know we are here. You know what time it is. It is the Taylor Collective. Oh, we got some new stuff, but before we start, you know how we gotta start with that anthem. Let's go.
Yeah, they see the man today,
They see the man today.
but they don't know about the nights I had to fight just to become him. Faith living, man, I wouldn't go through nothing.
Like and subscribe.
Faith, man, I wouldn't go through it alone. Taylor Collective.
Yeah.
Let's get it. I put my right hand up, eyes to the sky. Still got breath in my lungs, so I'm still gonna ride.
Come on.
Had some doors get closed. Had some doors get closed, and some dreams get denied. But the God that kept me, that's still gonna lead me tonight.
Come on.
Through the fire, I had to lose some things just to learn love. If they counted me out, let them count again. Every time life knocked me down, I got up again.
Still all right.
Grace on my life, you can see it in my eyes. Still alright. They can bury the dream, but they can't kill the vision inside. I came from a place where you learn how to hustle, not just for the money. I'm talking through struggle. Had to learn patience when pressure got heavy. Had to keep walking when I wasn't quite ready. I stood in some rooms where they questioned my name. Had to smile through the pressure while I carried the pain. Had some people walk out, had some people switch sides. Had to learn God was with me when nobody replied. I'm a father, a pastor, a coach. I'm a builder trying to leave something behind that's bigger than the picture. I don't want to chase applause, I want to build foundations. I don't want to just eat, I want to feed generations.
I want to feed generations.
They don't see the midnight, they see the sermon, they don't see the battles in my mind. Had to fight my own doubt just to step into my shine. Now I'm walking in purpose one day at a time. What God put in me,
Come on.
He taken from me. What He called me to become can't be stopped by what I've done. If I fall, I'm getting up.
Welcome. We are here, the Taylor Collective. I'm glad you're here. Before we get started, I want to speak to our sponsors. I want to thank Inkstress Notary for helping sponsor this to get this going. Hey, if you need a notary, hit up Inkstress Notary. I'm telling you right now, that's where you want to get all your stuff done. It's done by a Christian woman, powerful, elegant. Let's do this. And I also want to tell you before we get started, guess what? I need you to hit that like button and subscribe. Not only do I need you to hit that like button and subscribe, I need you to tell your neighbor and your friend, hey, he got some real stuff going over there. We need to like and subscribe. Listen to me. I don't know if you've been listening to the other episodes. This is a podcast of real conversation. We're not just going to be on here. If you want to hear the preaching, you want to hear the teaching, we do that on Wednesdays on T. Taylor Ministries. We got all that over here. But on Taylor Collective, we going to have real conversations about culture and everything. You know, one of the things I want to discuss, it happened last night. Let's talk about Nipsey Hussle, how his legacy is bigger than music. You know, I wasn't planning on sitting down and doing I wouldn't even call this a music review because I'm not a music critic. I'm not one. I don't listen to rap. I don't listen to any of that. That's not even what Taylor Collective is or what we are about. But what I ended up doing, because Nipsey's birthday is a day behind mine. My birthday was yesterday. So whoop, whoop. Happy birthday to me. Go ahead and show me some love. Hit me some happy birthdays in the chats. Show a brother some love. Treat a brother real good. Make a brother feel real good in Jesus' name. His birthday a day after mine, and my history with knowing about him from, I want to say from, first time I heard him was in like 2006 when they created Pac's Life. It was the 10-year anniversary of, I guess, Tupac's death at the time, and they put together a compilation of songs, and he happened to be on there. And that was my first time ever hearing about him. So when I heard that this project was coming out, I was like, you know what? Let me give a review on it. Let me talk about not just the music, but the man. So when I started hearing like little clips, I see commercials, I see things like that. And when I listen to some of the pieces that I've seen on YouTube, it's a project by Nipsey Hussle and Bino Rideaux. The project is called Prolific, and it started making me think about something bigger than music. It started making me think about legacy. Why I initially followed him at the time of my life. Of course, I don't follow him now, but one thing that I do know that he represented was legacy. It really made me think about legacy. Because think about this, we're listening to the voice of a man who isn't here anymore. That's one of the things that I remember back when I was younger and I used to listen to Pac. That used to have me like, man, he ain't here. Man, he working hard. He doing this. Pac died at 25. And one of the things that Pac did, he did leave a legacy, with his music and everything to take care of everything. But as I listened to this, because around the time when Nip transitioned, I had lost one of my cousins around the same age. It was a lot of death going on at that time. Kobe Bryant, so this was a very tough one because as we sitting here listening to a voice of a man, who's not here, who's built his legacy years after his death, we still hearing Nipsey. We're still talking about Nipsey. We're still studying Nipsey. We're still debating Nipsey. And now there's new music coming out, with his voice on it. And people are pressing that play button. All I hear all over the airways, all over my YouTube channels is Nipsey. Right next to me listening to a preacher, go to the top of his lungs, I'm hearing a Nipsey commercial. Cat Williams I guess they made a partnership to where Cat Williams is in every commercial that comes through it. So I thought that was very profound. And then, listening to all that and seeing all that, it made me ask myself, what does it actually mean to leave a legacy? Like, what does it actually mean to live a legacy? Because everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants followers because that's what everybody's post for. That's what everybody do. Everybody wants followers. Everybody wants money. Everybody wants recognition. Everybody wants to be known for something that they either are great at or something that they're trying to be great at. But here's the question that nobody asks enough. What are you building that will still matter when you're no longer here? Like, what are you actually building? What are you actually putting together? And I think that's what we want to talk about today. That's what we need to talk about today. Not as a pastor. If you follow me, I'm the pastor of Kingdom Legacy Center, but I don't want to speak to you as a pastor. I don't want to preach to you. I'm not trying to preach at you or to you. I want to speak to you as a man, Travis Taylor, as a father, as a friend, somebody that that knows how to live this life as a man. Because I think there's something we can learn from Nipsey Hussle. One of the things that I want to bring up and talk about, before I go even further, let me hit you with this. There's a QR code on the screen that says, buy me coffee. If you know me, I love me some coffee. Scan that QR code. Go ahead and purchase a brother some coffee. I'm not a big Starbucks fan, but I'll find some coffee somewhere. I'll go purchase me some coffee. Look up. But all that money will go towards building this platform even bigger. I joke about the coffee, but it will go towards building a bigger and better platform. And what I want to discuss in this next segment is the marathon. One of the things I think that Nipsey understood was the marathon. Again, I told you this is not a Bible podcast. This is a real conversation. But the Bible tells us that the race is not given to the swift or the strong, but the one that endures. Nipsey understood the marathon. He understood what that meant. And that's bigger than any slogan that anybody can put out, that they can put on a shoe, that they can run with. Everybody wants the finish line, but nobody wants the miles. Everybody wants the finish line. Everybody want to see the end. Everybody want to get to the end and be like, oh, I made it. But nobody want the miles that it takes to get to the process. I read something where he was like, build it brick by brick. Nobody don't want to build it brick by brick. They want all the bricks. They want all the bricks to come to them so they can move in that way. Nobody wants the years of sacrifice. Everybody wants the business, but nobody wants the years where nobody believes in you. Have you ever been there? You working on your craft and you doing your thing. Ain't nobody believing you. And I remember when I was becoming a professional athlete and pushing, my mother had put me in this small town. Shout out to Hemingway. I was in this small town, and within that small town, not too many people make it out. But I was determined. A lot of times people don't believe in the vision because they can never see the vision themselves. They've never seen outside of where they are. So how can they believe in you to do something? Nobody wants them years where nobody believe in you. Everybody just wants the platform. Nobody wants the years when you're posting and nobody's watching. What about them years? Nobody talks about those years when you posting and you see all the views, but you don't see the likes. Man, come on, man. And I think that's something that Nipsey truly understood. You have to be willing to build when nobody is clapping. And that's hard. For a lot of people, that is very, very hard. You have to be willing to build when nobody's clapping. Because we live in a world where everybody wants immediate results. We post something today, and if it doesn't go viral, we think it didn't work. We start a business, and if we're not making the money that we feel like we need to be making in 3 months, we'll be like, it don't work. I'm gonna quit. Well, maybe God didn't ask me to do this. Well, maybe I had the wrong vision. Well, maybe no. Keep going. We start working on ourselves, and when life doesn't immediately change, when we put in that work, we go back to the old version of ourselves. That don't serve nobody. That don't help nobody. We get in the gym and we lift, and we be like, man, I ain't gained weight. I ain't gained no muscle this week. I ain't lose no weight. And then we quit. Like, come on. The marathon doesn't work like that. The marathon is about consistency, being consistent. Now, that's real discipline. It's about discipline. It's about understanding that some seasons are about preparation. Some seasons is about laying down that groundwork where everybody watching you. Just think about this. Noah was preparing for something that nobody else ever seen before. Like, come on, let's keep it real. Noah was preparing for rain, and everybody looking at him crazy, like, this man is crazy. He a fool. Like, what is he doing? Like, what is he doing? He preparing for rain, and it ain't never rained yet. Some seasons are just for preparation. Some seasons are just about planting. Some seasons are about building. And sometimes you're doing the work today that somebody else won't recognize until 5 or 10 years from now. Some of that work you're putting in right now, guess what? In a year or two, in 5 years, in 10 years, people going to look at you and be like, man, you really, really did that. I remember when I first started my organization, one of my homies, he had said to me, he was like, one of my homeboys, he said to me, he said, man, you built this by yourself? But nobody knew the years behind the scenes when I was digging. And while you're digging, there's people talking crazy about you. Man, I get people talking crazy about me all the time. All you got to do is not like what they got going on, or they want a discount on the thing that you work for. The moment you do that, man, they're going to start talking to you crazy. That'll be a podcast for a whole nother day, because we're going to get to that. But sometimes you're doing the work today that somebody else won't recognize until 5 years from now. That's what you got to understand while you digging, while you plowing, while you hustling, while you feeling like, man, this ain't going nowhere. Nah, it's going somewhere. Man, I had a man I was speaking to. I spoke to him yesterday, actually, and we were talking about a project, and he said, hey, we're going to play the long game. We're just going to play the long game. Hey, the long game. Nobody want to hear that, but you got to play the long game. One thing that I think we also need to pay attention to, because I think a lot of people get caught up in it, fame versus ownership. Say it with me, people. Fame versus ownership. Those are two different things. I'm going to say it again. Fame versus ownership. A lot of people want to talk about how they want to be famous. People want to talk about how they want to be great. People want to talk about how great they are. But what are you actually owning? Like, what do you own? We don't own nothing. We famous, but we don't own nothing. We got a whole lot of fame and we don't own nothing. And see, that's another thing about that I feel like that Nipsey understood. There's a difference between being famous and actually owning something. Because one thing that I realized in the process of it, I seen an interview years ago, and within the interview, they were talking about his role. He was going to play Snoop Dogg, I believe, in it was the NWA movie. And he was like, man, yeah, I could do that. I can jump into that. I can knock that out. But if I knock that out, people gonna be recognizing me for that and not for who I really am. So instead of him going after the money and going after the surefire thing that made him, look like he was somebody, he decided to stand on his own and believe in himself. Sometimes we have to go after ownership over the fame. And I truly believe he believed that. He lived it. He showed it. And said that's a conversation that we don't have enough, because you can have millions of followers and own nothing. Come on, somebody. You can have millions of followers and own nothing. You can have millions of views and still have no foundation. You can be popular and still broke. You can be known and still have no legacy. Nipsey talked about ownership throughout his whole life, owning stuff. I remember when I first started my organization. I remember when I first heard him. Let me go there. When I first heard him, I was in Duhawk. I was getting ready for a game. And while I'm in there, I seen this interview where he was pulling back his armrest. He was pulling back the armrest, and as he was pulling back the armrest, it had like the all money in on the armrest. It had the all money in on the armrest, and then it had the floor mats. Had the all money in armrest, and I believe, if I can recall, there was a song where he was like logo on my floor mat, and that immediately made me like, man, I can't work for nobody. I got to have ownership. I have to put my skill set does not have a dollar on it. A lot of times I encounter people that saw my skill set and wanted the bread off of it, and they used me for it. And I allowed them to do it because I was chasing the fame versus the ownership at times. But when I ended up doing that, that was one of the greatest decisions of my life. People be looking for popularity, but what about the legacy? And ownership isn't just about getting money. That's all people talk about, especially like in these times. It's not about getting money. Think about it. Much as I love Nip, Nip ain't here to benefit off of the project that he put out, but his legacy, his family, his children, his estate, the people that he loved, they are benefiting off of the thing that he built. Ownership means taking responsibility for your life, like taking responsibility for like who you are, being accountable for your mistakes, being accountable for who you are and what you do, owning your decisions, owning your mistakes, owning your vision, owning your intellectual property. Yeah, that's your idea. You don't have to sell it to nobody. Build it. Believe in yourself. You got to own your business, own your time. I think a lot of times we get so caught up in trying to like make people happy. We get caught up in trying to do things for people, but ownership also entails you owning your time. You need to own your time. No, I can't do this today. Nah, I ain't on that today. I'm not about to do that. You have to take ownership of your time, owning your relationships. Like what type of relationships you trying to have? What type of people you trying to connect with? Because one of the things that I really have understood and I looked at, especially not only with this project that came out, but in my very own life. Like in my very own life, being connected to people where those relationships a lot of times were one-sided, which in turn, when I put myself in situations in the past, it also made me create one-sided relationships where when anything fell apart, you can't call on them. That's not your friend. You don't really love that person. You ain't really rocking with that person. It may feel like the relationship is mutual. Look at this whole situation with the Prolific. They sat on this. They wanted to wait until everything was perfect. They wanted to wait until everything was right. They waited on this project. They waited on this thing to be here. He had relationships. He owned his relationships. He has relationships with people that while he's not here, they're still riding for him. And man, I hate to say it, when I was growing up, I was a big fan of Tupac, but all they cared about was his money. They still doing it. They have his trial on YouTube and his live. Like it's been 30 years and they still have not, found out who did it. We know who did it, but the trial is going on right now. But just think about that. They put anybody on his music. They do anything with his image and his likeness. They put it everywhere. Whereas Pac did not own them relationships. Like he knew that people were using him. So he was dropping music and doing all these different things and pushing this, pushing that. He knew that. Nipsey Hussle owned his relationships. Man, I'll take it even further. I told you this podcast is not about religion. It's not about me as a pastor. This is about me as a man. Like, I'll even take it to Jesus. Jesus owned his relationships. Y'all can say what y'all want. Jesus was he was a real one out there. Like, Judas was the one relationship that he did not own because Judas was tied to something else. And so a lot of us, out of the 12 people that he had around him, one of them was the devil. Like, you got to own your relationships and your friendships, that when your presence is not there, your people still rocking with you. Man, it took me 40 years to realize that. I wouldn't say 40, 39, I guess. It took me 40 years to realize that, though. Like, a lot of times you think that you have relationships with people, you love them, you rock with them, you are consistently doing for them. But the moment you tell them no, man, they go to talking crazy about you. They go to bashing your name. They go on doing all of those type of things. Like I told you, like even with my organization, when I was running my organization, long as I was telling people, yeah, I was rocking with them, helping them out, doing whatever. But the moment I didn't see the vision the way that you see it, even though it's my vision, we fell apart. I had people talking about me, dogging me out, calling me out. And in the beginning, it hurt me. But then I realized that's what they did to Jesus. They literally did it to Jesus. Like, you got to begin to own your relationships. And that's what I respect about this prolific project. The prolific project, those relationships that he built and the things that he did during his time, they're showing themselves. The fruits of his labor are showing themselves right now. And I think that is a beautiful thing. I think that's something that people need to hear. You got to own your future, man. A lot of times we put our future in other people's hands because in owning them relationships, a lot of times we're in relationships, guess what, that we be in for 8, 10, 12 years. Man, I was in a relationship for 8 years. And the moment that things didn't go the way that person wanted it to go, because I did not own that relationship tried to sabotage my future. Now, that's another podcast for a whole nother day. We ain't going to talk about that today. We talk about the prolific, owning your relationships, owning your future. And that's something that a lot of people need to hear, because sometimes we're waiting for somebody else to give us permission to become who we already were supposed to become. We giving people the power to dictate who we are, because we don't own that stuff. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting on somebody to give you validation. Stop waiting on somebody to tell you that you're good enough. I remember coming up in ministry, and I don't know about y'all, but especially like in church politics, man, it's crazy. I remember coming up in life, like when I was trying, those days are over, trying to run them streets, you waiting on permission, like to build something. Why are you waiting on them to tell you that you're great? Why are you waiting on them to tell you to start your ministry, to start your business, to start this? Why are you waiting on them to tell you to learn something? Go get your own book. You don't have to read because they tell you to read. Go read your own self. Why are you waiting on them to tell you to create something, invest in something? Develop yourself. Do what you want to do. Man, come on. We got to talk that talk. We got to really look at who we are becoming in this life. And then when you do that, guess what? Bring somebody with you. Fruit beget fruit. As you grow, as you build, as you do what you are doing, bring somebody with you. Teach them the game. Teach them greatness. Teach them how great you are. Teach them who you are. Teach them the value of truth. I got a question for you. As we sitting up here talking about Nipsey, what are you building? See, that's the power in when I'm talking about Nipsey. That's what I'm talking about. What are you building? And see, and that's where I had to turn the question back on myself as I was moving, as I was growing, as I was acting, as I was flowing. Because it's easy to talk about Nipsey and what he did and how he did it. It's easy to talk about somebody else and their accomplishments. But what am I building? What am I building? These things like this should make you look at yourself. Like again, I'm sitting down, I'm laying in my bed, and I'm like, man, he's dropping the prolific album. His birthday's a day after my birthday. He's not here to see this stuff, but God has given me another day to be here. What am I building? What am I doing? We sit around and we talk about everything that's going on, but we don't talk about what we need to be doing. What are you building? What are you building? Like, what are you building? Not what are you posting, because we can post all day. All us post all day. What are you building? Not what car you driving. Not how many followers you got. Not how many people you can name. Oh my God. I hate being around people. They name drop all day. Well, I was with so and so last week. Man, I don't care. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't care. First off, I probably don't even know who you're talking about. So that's number one. The rest, I don't care. Oh, yeah, I worked out with Voodoo. Oh, I did this. I was with Pastor so-and-so the other day. Oh, okay. What this got to do with what we talking about? What this got to do with anything? People like to name drop. What are you actually building? And I would tell some people, they would talk about, like, they'll be like, I worked out with so-and-so. I'm like, no, they worked out with you because you're him. You're them. Like, stop putting that. So what are you actually building? Because there's a difference between looking successful and actually building something. There's a lot of people out here that look successful, that look like they're doing it, that act like they're doing it, but you ain't building nothing. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons that we could see here with this prolific album. His work was made manifest even after he was gone. What I love about the character of the man, though we talking about the album, I'm talking about the character of the man that I studied. The one thing that I loved about it was the manhood conversation. Let's talk about that. There's a conversation about manhood. When you talk about the prolific album, when people talk about Nipsey, when they talk about stuff like that, there is a manhood conversation that we have to have. Because Nipsey's story also makes me think about what it means to be a man. I remember he was saying he was riding in the car with this guy. I watched the video. This was years ago. He was riding in the car with this guy, and he was talking about how he affirmed his daughter every morning, I think, on the ride to school. Man, that's something me and my baby do. Me and my baby, when I'm taking her to school, we used to have this affirmations that we would sing every morning, unless she was super tired and she would sleep. Every morning we had affirmations that we say. Of course we prayed, but we had affirmations that we pray. If you follow me on T. Taylor Ministries, I'm a decree and declare. We're going to decree and declare that this is what God is saying. And so I would tell her all the time. I tell my daughter all the time from when she was little, baby, you're beautiful. Baby, you're awesome. You are amazing. You amazing. Now she's 10 years old, and I'll tell her, baby, you amazing? She'd be like, yeah. You awesome? She'd be like, yeah. You beautiful. Because one thing that I would never allow her to feel like she's not worthy. And that is a manhood conversation that we have to have when it comes to men. Like for some people that I see, and they, I was reading in the comments when they were talking about the album, they talking about how old it was and this and that. And I'm like, man, this man created a body of work that is about to feed his children. He's no longer here, and he's still feeding his children. That is the life that we should strive for. The Bible even tells us that a man leaves an inheritance for his children and his children's children. I'm not about to sit here and tell you Nipsey was perfect, because I didn't even know Nipsey. You ain't perfect. I ain't perfect. I said I ain't. I ain't say I'm not. I say I ain't perfect. None of us are. The Bible even tells us our righteousness is as filthy rags. So even on your best day, you ain't perfect. So I'm not saying he was perfect, because I'm sure he wasn't. I'm not trying to turn him into a saint. I ain't trying to do none of that. He was a human being just like us. He had flaws. He had mistakes. He had contradictions. Who on here can talk about their contradictions? Man, I've had many contradictions in my life. Just, all of us. Your very self, man, you got contradictions right now. Like, should I do this? Should I do that? Who am I today? Who am I tomorrow? Man, when I hit 40, I was like, yeah, everything that happened in the 30s, it don't exist. It don't exist. Listen to me, it don't exist. Your mindset has to shift into a place that is beyond where you're trying to reach. And if you can't go to a place that you're beyond trying to reach, you're going to stay stuck where you are. You got to start beginning to build bigger, especially as a man. But one thing I wanted to talk about, this is the thing. You can learn something from somebody else without pretending that they were perfect. Because a lot of times I think people hate on the fact that you learning from somebody, you building from somebody, and they be like even now, there are going to be some Christians that's going to watch this podcast and they can be like, well, he's a pastor. Why are he talking about prolific? Well, because I'm still a man, because I still exist in society. I'm not saying that I'm gang banging and I'm shooting them up. I'm talking about the man that he died. We literally a year apart, birthdays a day apart, Leos, like all that stuff. I'm still a man. People going to be looking at it like, well, he did this. He was a crip. That's good for you. You can beat on all that. I'm looking at the manner of man that he is. I'm looking at the person, because whether you know it or not, when it comes to masculinity and manhood in America, guess what? It ain't too many of us out there. It ain't too many. It's a lot of men out here that don't even know how to be men. It's a lot of men out here that's out here trying to figure it out, that's out here trying to understand. I talked to a young brother maybe like 2 months ago, and as I'm talking to him and I'm explaining to him about, who he is and what he need to stand on, he was like, I don't know why I feel that way. I was like, because you ain't never had a daddy. You ain't never had a man talk to you in a way that invokes conviction in you to make you be different, to make you stand on something different. You ain't never had a father. And he sat back, he was like, dang, you right. Because I know the feeling. I've been there before my stepfather came along and taught me how to become who I became. Nipsey had a father. He had a father. So it makes sense. I think a lot of people get caught up in the fact that I know for me, let me say this. I know for me, I appreciated that there were things about the way Nipsey thought about responsibility, fatherhood, business, community, purpose, those type of things. I feel like those are things that men need to examine. Men need to examine that, because being a man isn't just about having money. I've been around men that felt like because they got money, or in this culture, we call it having a bag. They have a bag and they got money, that there are men. No, there's men out there that feel like because they get women or they have a lot of women that they are men. It's not even about being the loudest person in the room. A lot of men think because they're loud that they men. A lot of men think because they can break bread that they're men. That don't make you no man. It's not about being feared. It's not about proving how tough you are. There's another level of manhood. And guess what? I think the number one level of manhood is responsibility, or should I say accountability. Why you say that? Again, at the end of the day, this podcast is about real conversations. It's about talking that real, speaking that real. But at the end of the day, I'm still a man of God. And me being a man of God, the reason I think this is the number one thing, because when God came into the garden in the book of Genesis, guess what he said? Adam, where art thou? Now, to me, I'm like, what you mean where he at? You're God. What do you mean where he at? You know where he at. What you talking about where he at? But it wasn't so much God trying to figure out where he was. God knew where he was. But guess what? Adam lacked accountability. Adam lacked responsibility, like many of the men today. The first thing, instead of Adam answering the question, guess what he said? The woman you gave me, brother, lacked accountability. So I believe responsibility and accountability are the number one things that a man should stand on. So as you bumping and listening to that prolific album, much as you love Nipsey and all of that, listen, one of the things he stood on was responsibility and accountability. How do I know that? Look at this album. Let me ask you a question, brothers. What are you responsible for? I don't care about your job. What are you responsible for? Me as a man, My daughter is my pride and joy. My daughter is my everything. Before I am anything, I am a father. And before you Christians jump up in here and try to beat me in the head, no, you're a pastor. My first ministry is my family. That is my first ministry. My daughter. What are you responsible for, brother? If you're watching this right now and you have not spoken to your kids, I need you to get off that prolific album. I need you to stop doing what you're doing, and go hit your kids up. I need you to stop whatever you're doing and go reach out to your kids, brother. What are you responsible for? Who depends on you? Now, I know some brothers, they running through the system and they got to go through what they go through within the system. They battling that. Listen to me. I know what that system like. I know what it is. But if you have, I'm going to say it this way, if you have any ability to be able to see your child, if you have any ability to communicate with your child, you should be doing it, because the number one responsibility of a man is to be responsible and accountable. If you are not responsible and accountable when it comes to your very own children, you're not who you think you are. You're not who you think you are. You might got all the money in the world. You might got all the influence, got the power. But if you're not taking care of your responsibilities, and when I say taking care, I ain't talking about buying stuff. Because a lot of men, that's the first thing they're going to bring up. Well, I bought this and I bought that. She won't let me see the kid. Is there a court order? Because I'm done with the excuses. Is there a court order? Because if there's a court order, you can see your kid, brother. If there's a court order, you can talk to your kid. I don't care how she feel, what she got going on. That ain't your problem. What you can do is talk to your kids. Who are you helping? Who are you teaching? Who are you protecting? Who are you preparing for the next? And ultimately, what are you building? Brother, what you building? What you building? Again, we dropping knowledge off of that prolific. That thing stirred something up in me. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, this is why I loved it back in the day. I think the opening line of Victory Life was, I'm prolific, I'm so gifted, I'm the type that's going to go get it. No kidding. What we going to do, brothers? And I want to segue into fatherhood and legacy. And see, this is where the conversation gets real, real personal. This is where we get personal about this. Because I think, because when I think about Nipsey, I don't just think about the rapper. I don't just think about the rapper. Everybody want to discuss the rapper. Yeah, he was dope. Like, he was cool. I listened to that back in the day. Like, he was a fire rapper. He's one of my favorite rappers at the time. But I don't think about Nipsey Hussle, the rapper. I think about Nipsey Hussle, the father. I think about that part because I am a father. So I think about Nipsey Hussle, the father, and I think about it. I think about what it means to leave something behind to your children. I remember, thinking about when God gave me the vision to start Kingdom Legacy Center. First, it started on Matthew 6:33. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and all his righteousness, and all these other things shall be added unto them. And then I thought about legacy. My daughter is my legacy. Man, listen to me. Brothers, I don't care what you got going on with whoever. I'm going to say it again. I don't care what you got going on with whoever. If you have a child, you need to get to that child. You need to speak to that child. Guess what? When I got railroaded, I'm going to say it this way. They probably use this. It's whatever. I'm going to put it in a better way. When I got put in a situation in court that was out of my control, what I had to do was figure out a way not to put myself back in control, but to control the things that I can control. One thing that was not taken from me, even though they tried to take everything, one thing that was not taken from me was my ability to see my child. So guess what I did? So on my days when I ain't got her, I'm coming to the school. Let's eat lunch together. Brothers, there's so many excuses that we put out here. Why do you have the excuse? What does it mean to leave something behind to your child? Why you don't have a connection with your child? Because your children just don't inherit your money. They inherit your example. They inherit your mindset. They inherit the things you taught them. They inherit the memories that you created. I asked my daughter, well, no, I didn't ask her. I saw something, was cleaning out the car, and I was reading this. I had never seen it. I don't know why she hadn't given it to me, probably because we was moving. I saw something where she was like, she had wrote down one of her favorite memories with her father was when we go swimming. And if you know me, I can't swim, but I get in that water, I work out. And because I'm tall, of course I can stand up in the water. But she was like, one of the things, and I would have never thought that. I'd have never in a million, out of all the things that we've done did, out of all the places we've been, I would have never thought that the one thing that she loved more than anything that we do was going swimming. And I was like, okay, well, we're going to go swimming again this week. I think we ended up going swimming about 3 times that week. But it really hit me because out of all the things that I could do, out of all the places I could take her, she picked something to where we are intimate together. Something where it's her and me. Like she wants me to see her swim. She wants me to see her in her excellence. Man, and it hit me. They will inherit the things that you taught them. They will inherit the memories that you created. They will inherit. Guess what? Guess what, brothers? I'm about to say something. I'm about to shatter your world right now. They will inherit the way that you showed up. How did you show up? They will inherit that. I was thinking to myself, of course, I talked to many people that know me. They know I talk about my stepfather a lot because he the one that helped raise me and helped me to become the man that I became. Now, granted, I ain't do everything exactly how they told me to do it, but I tried my best. But one thing that had hit me this week, actually, I was driving. Well, actually, on my birthday, I was driving, and I said to myself, I see why my biological father gave up. I see why he quit. That's a conversation people don't want to have. Dealing with the court, fighting with the court, dealing with the lack of finances. I was like, man, especially in those times, I knew it was hard. But guess what? It's still not an excuse. It's not an excuse. Every man is different, but your kids will inherit the way that you showed up. One thing my daughter knows is going to happen. Her daddy's going to be there. Her father is going to show up. She know that I don't care what it is. Her daddy going to show up, and that's bigger than an inheritance. You can work all the days of your life. That's bigger than an inheritance. Like, think about this. There's so many kids of millionaires and billionaires, and one of the things that the kids complain about a lot is they be like, well, I bought this big house, and I did this, and I did that. Guess what them kids say? But you weren't there, Dad. You weren't there. You didn't help me with my homework. You didn't come to my recital. You didn't do those things. Man, your kid inherits more than just your money. You can leave your child money and still leave them without wisdom. You can leave all the stuff that you want to leave to them. Like I watched an interview, it was a podcast with Black Sam on it, and he was talking about the promo run. He said he was happy. I think they ended up asking him a question about would he ever leave LA. And he was like, well, I may because my niece, Nipsey Hussle's daughter, he said we was doing a promo run in New York. And he was like, I think she liked New York. She had never been out of LA, I guess, but she liked New York. And so he was like, one thing that stood out to me of what he said, but she ain't got to enjoy it the way that she wanted to because they were on a promo run. So just think about this. When she was young, her father died. He was murdered. Nipsey was murdered when she was young. Fast forward, 6, 7 years later, she's doing a promo run to get people to purchase her father's album. Now, just imagine if Nipsey wasn't a good father, if he wasn't there, where would they be at? I'm going to be honest with you. Growing up a Tupac fan, I ain't never seen his family go on a promo run for his music. They got that money though, or whoever got it. I've never seen his sister. I've seen her lately, but I've never seen anyone in his family. Like his mom would do stuff, but she's gone. But like Nipsey's daughter was on a promo run for this prolific album. Like I thought that was powerful because not only did he leave her with an inheritance of wealth, he left her with a body of work that could sustain her life. And then she's capturing wisdom right now, like how to promote. She might not even go into music. She might go into the other things that he was into, but she'll know how to navigate and move and operate in a way that people have never seen before. You can leave them a house and leave them without direction. Like just think about it. He could have left her this whole music. When Pac left here, he left them music, but nobody had direction. Now, granted, he was 25, but Nipsey could have leave all this stuff, but no direction. They say Nipsey left them the blueprint on what to do and how to do it. Guess what? I'm going to take it further because remember, I'm going to take it back. It's still a Christian podcast. It's still a Christian podcast. I'm still a Christian. I'm still a pastor. Jesus left us the ultimate blueprint. Yeah, eat that one. He left us the ultimate blueprint on how to live, how to walk, how to move, how to carry ourselves, how to talk. Listen here, you can lead them possessions and leave them without purpose. You can give them all the possessions in the world and leave without purpose. And they'll have no purpose. They won't know what to do next because you gave them nothing. You gave them a bunch of, I bought you this. You ain't give them presents. You didn't give them the wisdom and knowledge. Come on. So the real question becomes, what are you leaving in your children? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Not what are you leaving them? What are you leaving in your children? Will you, when you leave here, will you make your child better? Will the people around you be better because of you? When I listen to Black Sam in interviews and Bino and everybody that's a part of their camp, they just talk about the blueprint. They talk about, it was like, man, you can sit next to Nipsey and just get knowledge without even trying. Like he just gonna give it to you without even trying. Like just think about that. Because your legacy, hold on, let me say it this way. Because your greatest legacy might not have your name on it. Think about that. Your greatest legacy might not have your name on it. It might be living inside your child. Think about that. So when you moving and grooving, when you acting the way you acting, when you talking the way you talking, I know one thing about my baby. My baby watches everything that I do. I joke with people and tell people, because you know how Paul talked about he had a thorn in his flesh, and that was his way of staying close to God, you know, at the feet of God. I tell people she's my positive one, where I have to, you know, talk right, live right, act right, move right. She watches literally everything that I do, which segues me into community. Another thing that stands out to me about Nipsey is community. Because what's the point of making it if nobody else benefits from you making it? Like I think about all the brothers that I've met in my life and the people that I've connected with, that I would say, for me personally, eat off the legacy. You know, they've taken it, and it's not because of me, because they're great people, but because of what I have built in my past, of who I was, you know, sharing it with them, being a part of it. I'm watching them coach teams, I'm watching them run programs and all that type of stuff. What is the use of you having all this stuff when you can't share it with nobody? You a gatekeeper. You a big time gatekeeper. You don't want to help nobody. You just want you and your phone and no more. Like, what is the point of having all of this and getting, what is the point? You know, that's the real question. Can you really say that you've made it if everybody around you is still struggling? Can you really say that? Like everybody that's a part of Nip's team was eating. Is one of their names, what is the name? I think his name BH. You can tell BH ain't really a rapper. You can tell he's one of them, how to say this in the best context. I'm saying he's Crip, he's gangbanger. You can tell he's still, you know, he's part of that life. But because you was on a team with the home team, you get to eat as well. Like, come on, you're big, you're growing, you living, but everybody else struggling. Come on, man. I'm not saying that you're responsible for everybody. So let me fix that. I'm not saying you're responsible for everybody around you. I'm saying that when you gain knowledge, you should be willing to share that knowledge. You should be willing to say to yourself, hey, bro, let me put you on game. Let me look out for you. Let me pour this into you. When you create an opportunity, look for somebody you can bring through that door. That's real power right there. That's real power, putting yourself in a position to where you can help somebody else. One of the biggest things to me about building a church and pastoring a church is not just for me. I want to leave a legacy, not only as a man, but as a pastor. Like, I want people, when my brother transitioned to the next life, when he went to heaven, man, there was so many people that came out to see him. There was so many people that came out to show him love. There was so, and this was around COVID when we weren't supposed to be around each other. It was so many people. I was like, man, this is how your legacy is supposed to be. Where one of the things that keeps Nipsey relevant right now was the things that he left behind for the people that he loved, setting everything up properly, doing everything. I remember a lyric I think he had in one of his songs. He said, $1 million on my flesh. He was talking about life insurance. He was talking about life insurance. Most of y'all will be talking about jewelry and all this stuff and all. He was talking about $1 million life insurance on his flesh. This man wanted to, he professed that he was gang banging and all of that. But how many of you men right now have a life insurance policy on your body that your kids can inherit when you transition to the next life? When you learn something, you should be able to teach somebody. Like I'm pretty sure when he said that, he told his whole team about that. Like, listen to me, when you become successful, don't forget the people and the places that helped shape you. Don't forget them. I'm not saying give them everything. Because listen here, there's a difference between escaping your environment and transforming your environment. Now, that's a conversation that's worth having. I think a lot of people really, they talk about making it and leaving it, but they don't really transform everything around you. One thing I would like to add too, there's strange power. There is a strange power of legacy. Legacy is very powerful. This is what really gets me. Nipsey has been gone for years, but his voice is still working. His ideas are still working. They created what? Marathon Burger. They got Marathon OG. They got all kind of marathon chains. I seen Black Sam say they're thinking about turning it into a franchise. His ideas are still working. He'll say, yeah, I remember bro said that he wanted to do XYZ, and his community, his team are putting out the things that, he talked about. His ideas are working. His name is still working. His family is still carrying his name. His community is still talking about him. His fans still feel connected to him. And now we sitting here talking about him again. Now that's powerful. Now that's real powerful right there. We're talking about him in the most relevant way possible. Now, granted, these are songs he written years ago, but we're talking about something that is relevant today, because eventually every one of us are going to leave this earth. Eventually, every one of us are getting up out of here. That's just the reality of everything. Every man gonna live and every man gonna die. When you born and you living, but the fact that you came into this earth, all of us got a clock. That's a reality. And when we're gone, we won't be able to post anymore. We won't be able to explain ourselves anymore. We won't be able to correct a narrative anymore. We won't be able to tell people what we meant, how we feel, what we think. This is what I was really trying to say. This is why we won't be able to do none of that. The only thing left will be what we built. That'll be the only thing left. The only thing left will be what we built, what we gave. Everybody gonna have something to say about you. But what will be left is what we gave, what we taught, who we love, who we've helped, who we became. Now that's legacy. Who did you become? Sometimes a lot of us have periods of life where we're not who we are supposed to be. I'll say it that way. We are my mother. I love when my mother uses that word, especially when she's describing a man. She was like, we was talking about somebody one day. And she was like, yeah, when they weren't who they were supposed to be. A lot of times, us as men in the course of trying to find our way, we're not who we are supposed to be. But when you become that, now that's legacy. So question this. Let me ask you something. Was Nipsey Hussle successful? Was he successful? And I'm not talking about album sales. I'm not talking about streams. I'm not talking about awards. I'm talking about the bigger question. The real bigger question. That's the question that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the bigger question. Did he accomplish what he was trying to accomplish? I think that's where the conversation gets very interesting. Because success isn't just about how much money you make. Success isn't just about how many people know your name, because that's one of the things that we like to bank on. Sometimes success is changing the way somebody thinks. How many people that have you encountered and you've changed how they thought? Sometimes success is, just creating an opportunity for somebody else. Sometimes it's becoming the father that you did not have. Becoming the father. All these excuses, we always say, well, I didn't know how to do this because I ain't had a father. Stop with the excuses. Sometimes success is becoming what you've never seen. Being the father that you didn't have. Okay, your father wasn't there. Guess what? You be there. You be there more. You talk about how your father worked all the time. Okay, work, but be there for your child. You know what it feels like not to be there. You know what it feels like not to have your father there. So come on, step up to the plate. Sometimes it's building the business your family never had, doing something different. Why you can't be the first? Why you can't be the difference maker? Sometimes it's taking what you've been through and making sure that nobody else have to go through it alone. Taking your story, taking what you have fought for, taking the things that you had to wrestle with, taking the story that created this version of you and making sure nobody else have to worry about that. Now that is success too. That is success. Now that's real success. So for me, let me get back to the album, because we on here talking about how Nipsey reminded us what legacy is. That prolific album came out today. What did this album make me think about? Let's see. And that was the question that this album really made me think about. That's how my brain works. What did the album make you think about? Now that's the question that the album made me think about. You'll get it. It didn't make me think about the music. It didn't make me just think about whether I liked the song or not, because I didn't go through all that. It didn't make me think about, because I don't know if you remember when they used to put out Pac old stuff. It'd be stuff from this era, that era, and you can tell. It didn't make me think, what does this stuff in the vault sound like? What does this make me think about? I literally sat there. I had so many thoughts. For me, it made me think about a time and I'm digging deep. I'm digging deep now because I want to give y'all my real live. This is live. I want to give y'all my real live reaction to this stuff. It really made me think about purpose, like my purpose in the earth. Because again, it came out on my birthday. So as I was turning 40, God, thank you for helping me make it to 40 and being here. As I'm turning 40, I'm thinking more and more about my purpose. It made me think about fatherhood. It made me think about business. It made me think about ownership, community. It made me think about legacy. Because eventually the music stops. Eventually the thing that you've been working on, it stops. The applause stops, everybody praising you, telling you how great you are. I done been there. The likes stop, the followers stop, the money stops, and somebody has to tell the story of what you built. And guess what? The story might not be perfect, and that's okay. It is okay. We all make mistakes. For you to live your life and to think that you have never made a mistake or that you will never make a mistake is already a mistake. It's already a mistake. Because when you finally do walk into your mistake, you're going to crumble. You're going to crumble. When people stop clapping for you and telling you all that, that's going to change your whole perspective. So this is the question that I have for you. What are you building? Not what are you dreaming about? Not what you got over here in this, what are you building? Not what are you talking about? Not what are you planning to do someday? What are you building right now? This prolific album spoke to how we should begin building now. If you're not building, start now. If you plan on building, continue to start now. What are you contributing to the community? Like, what are you putting out there? What about you needs to be in somebody's household? What about you needs to be in somebody's family? What are you doing with the gifts that God has given you? And if your life ended tomorrow, what would still be here? The fact that you worked your whole life, your retirement, your kids can't inherit your retirement. That is the real question. That is what I took from this album. Because I think the real lesson behind Nipsey Hussle is bigger than rap. It's bigger than music. It's bigger than Los Angeles. It's bigger than the marathon. It's about understanding that your life should produce something that outlives you. Your life should produce something that truly outlives you. And that's why I wanted to have this conversation. That's why I wanted to have this discussion. Not because I'm trying to tell you how I think about Nipsey and his music and who he is and all that. I'm interested in what you think. Did this project make you think differently about Nipsey? Did it make you think about his legacy? Did it make you think about your own life? Because most of us are at an age now where we need to start thinking about the deeper things of life. Not partying, clubbing, not doing all this extra stuff. Like, did it make you think about your life? If you a man, and I'm speaking to the man, did it make you think about your own fatherhood? How you could be a better father? How you could be a better person, a better leader? Did it make you think about your businesses? Did it make you think about your own purpose, your own future? Drop it in the comments. Let's have a discussion. Let's talk about it. I really want to have a discussion with y'all. I want to talk about this. And if this is your first time watching Taylor Collective, welcome. This isn't just a podcast about politics. It's not just about religion. It isn't just about sports. It's about life, culture, purpose, people, and the conversations that really matter. Here we will discuss the things that I won't discuss in the pulpit. The pulpit is for God's word, not for me to give you my personal opinion. If you want my personal opinions about stuff, you want to hear what I really think about culture, purpose, people, and politics, that conversation will be here. So if you believe we need more conversations like this, subscribe to the channel. Share this with somebody who needs to hear it. And I'll see you in the next conversation. This is Taylor Collective. And one thing I want you to remember, don't just live a life people can remember. Build a legacy that they can carry. And you know how we do. We're going to have to get out of here, with our theme music. I'm going to give it to you right now. Give me 1 second. Because you know what it is. It's all about legacy. This is going to be a song that's going to feed my daughter one day and forever. Y'all ready? Let's get out of here.
This see the man today.
They see the man today.
But they don't know about the nights I had to fight just to become him. Faith never meant I wouldn't go through nothing.
Come on, y'all. Subscribe, like, share.
Let's get it. I put my hand up, eyes to the sky. Still got breath in my lungs, so I'm still gon' ride. Had some doors get closed. Some dreams get denied.
Thank y'all for showing up. Thanking y'all for being here. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and share. Yes. Go in peace, go in power, and go be great.
Every time life knocked me down, I got up again.